afternoon. Welcome to the talk, Crime Prevention and Home Safety. I'm Jen Cao, the president of the Organization of Chinese American Women, Silicon Valley Chapter. First, I'd like to thank Deputy Sheriff Marie Molnar for joining us today to provide such important information to us. Cynthia Chen, our past president of our organization, will be the moderator for today's talk. Before I pass the time to Cynthia, I'd like to take a couple minutes to introduce our organization, the Organization of Chinese American Women, OCAW. OCAW was founded 45 years ago in Washington, D.C. by three Chinese American women, Pauline Trey, Julia Chen Block, and Jeannie Zhu, to advancing the interests of Chinese American women in the United States and increasing awareness of issues affecting them. Pauline was the key person to found the organization. Julia Chen Block, 张之香女士. Julia served as the U.S. ambassador to Nepal, and she was the first U.S. ambassador of Asian descent. Jeannie Zhu was a former staffer on Capitol Hill, and she was the driving force behind establishing May as Asian Pacific Heritage Month. Our organization has grown significantly since its founding in 1977, and now we have chapters in the East, West, South, and Hawaii, and includes prominent members such as former U.S. Secretary of Labor, former U.S. Secretary of Transportation, Elaine Chao. Our OCAW Silicon Valley website is OCAW-SVC.org. Welcome to check out our website, and I look forward to seeing you in our future events. Cynthia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you see my somehow, let's see. Jen, I couldn't get my video. Oh, okay. Okay, sorry, okay. So good afternoon, everyone. It is my great pleasure to be here to be the moderator of this event. I thought about this safety talk idea, and it should be a great benefit to our community member. So I spoke with Ling Sun, Saratoga High School PTSO president, and so with her help, we also are including Saratoga PTSO as our collaboration organization. I am a board member for 28 years, 4 years on Saratoga Union School District Board, and 24 years on Los Gatos Saratoga Union High School District. And that's how I met Marie through my board as a board member over the year. And this year I'm retiring, And I'm just so glad that I will still be involved with all the community activities. And at this point, I would like to introduce Lily Sung to talk a little bit about Saratoga PTSO, Parent Teacher Students Organization. Lily.
Yeah, thanks OCAW. Thanks Cynthia for giving me this chance to promote Saratoga High School PTSO. I'm Ling Sun, President of School Year 2022 to 2023. PTSO stands for Parents, Teachers, Students Organization. Saratoga High School PTSO is a nonprofit organization established with an objective to promote the education for students and parents, to strengthen a common goal of providing the highest standard of the whole child education, as well as to provide a safe and healthy climate within Saratoga High School. We have general meetings on the second Thursday of almost every month. 40% of our donation fund goes to student programs like all-school barbecue, freshman orientation, snacks for finals, etc. 40% of donation fund goes to school programs like staff grants based on the application, library, newspaper, etc. The other 25% goes to parents programs, staff hospitality. Member operation expense takes about 5% for the website maintenance and the finance related cost. Every year, about 25 to 30% parents donate school-wise. We especially need help for the parents' education panel. Our VP of programs have organized sleep talks, movies regarding to overcome anxiety, but we need more speakers who could give presentations to our parents. The speakers are quite expensive, which is out of our affordable range. We need more volunteers, speakers focused on the teenagers' mental health area. Thanks for listening. Please support Saratoga High School PTSO. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Ling Sung, to let us know about what this PTSO is doing, and you guys are doing a great job. I think your VP Parent Education, Anita, has also joined us.
Yes.
Welcome, Anita. So at this point, I would like to introduce to you our speaker, Deputy Molnar, who has been with the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office for almost 6 years and currently serving as a school resource officer in the city of Saratoga, and covers all the schools, K through 12, private or public schools in the city of Saratoga. Saratoga resource officer for some of the parents and community members. I think it is good to know Saratoga, the school resource officer is a resource available to the students, schools, parents, and all the community members. And the purpose is to promote educational programs and to promote the safety in schools and in our community. Deputy Molnar will cover some of the programs she has provided and later on during her presentation. So at this point, I would like to remind everyone to keep your video and keep your sound mute, and please share the screen, Jen. Yeah, so if you have any questions during the talk, please use chat to ask your questions, and the speaker will answer them at the end of the presentation. For the recording of today's talk, please contact OCAW at our email address. Although all the attendees of today's event, we will send you the video recording automatically. So without further ado, let's welcome Deputy Molnar. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Can you guys hear me and see me okay? Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. It was with my great pleasure to provide this presentation for you. And just as Cynthia said, please save your questions or comments towards the end of the presentation. I will be more than happy to reply to all your questions. So, as Cynthia said, my name is Deputy Marie Molnar, and I work for the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office. So today I'm joining you guys to provide you some information about crime safety and home safety and crime prevention. Some of the topics that are we going to cover this time is we are going to talk about some frauds, crime that is happening in Saratoga. I'm going to provide you with crime statistics, and I'll give you some tips how you can make yourself safe and how you guys can make your home safe as well. So if we can move to slide number 3, I will start my presentation with the definition of fraud and kind of educate you guys on what fraud is, how you can protect yourself from fraudsters, and what do they do. So fraud, basically, it involves a deception or misinterpretation that a fraudster use or criminals use to cheat a person out of money or property. The scams can be very complicated and sometimes involve many people, which can make it difficult to catch. And what I can tell you guys now is that the criminals are getting very sophisticated. So now we have seen like frauds, they are so sophisticated that a normal person or average person is likely to believe. Some of the frauds that we have seen, and I would like to share this with you so you can educate yourself and you can talk to your family members and people that you know, is that the criminals can now hack the phone system. And if you have an incoming phone call, so you can receive a phone call that on the phone screen, it will say that the phone call is coming from, for example, San Jose Police Department. So you answer a phone call, you will see like the San Jose Police Department is calling. So you answer it and you will believe this is somebody legit calling from the police department. And the criminal might tell you, this is Sergeant Woods from San Jose Police Department. I'm from the sheriff's office. And this is what happened. And you need to pay a certain amount of money for some reason. Like there might be a warrant for your arrest. There might be money that you owe. And then people will think, oh, this might be actually a legit call because it is coming from a caller ID San Jose Police Department. But then the criminals will tell you, oh, you need to send a certain amount of money to either pay for the taxes that you owe, or there is a warrant. Maybe they tell you like, oh, you missed the traffic court and now like your license is going to be suspended. And in order for you to prevent this, you need to send a specific amount of money. And this all sounds very legit because they will provide you the address of the San Jose Police Department. And then, yes, we are still number 3. They will provide you with the address for the San Jose Police Department. They will tell you how to send the money and what to do about that. So people will think like, okay, this is something that is very legit and people tend to send the money because people believe it, right? And then criminals are getting sophisticated and this will lead for you to lose the money. So I can just tell you, if a San Jose Police Department or any police department, sheriff's office is calling you, we will never tell you on the phone to pay the money on the phone. If there is something that you own, you are not going to get a phone call from us. You are going to get a letter. So if the letter comes to the address, it will tell you, you need to report to a police department. You need to report to the sheriff's office where you will take care of it, right? We are never going to call you and we are never going to call you and tell you that you need to pay any money online or over the phone or anything. So this needs to be like a big red flag. If somebody who is representing and stating they are from the police agency or from anyone else, I'm telling you, you need to go on this website to pay the fine, to pay the ticket, it is very likely a scam. So be very suspicious. And if you have any suspicions, you can always call the sheriff's office, or you can call the San Jose PD or any agency of your jurisdiction and just verify, like, so I just received this phone call, is this legit? And they will tell you it is not. So the con artists and thieves prey on human feelings because most of the people are good. So this is slide number 4. So they take advantage of people because usually people trust, right? This is a normal human nature. People trust other people. So this is why the con artists can take advantage of you, because they target the kindness and the friendship or the willingness of people to do other things, good things for other people. They also target people who are a little bit greedy, right? So it's another part of the human nature. Like, people are greedy sometimes. And it's a very appealing if somebody tells you, like, oh, you can invest certain amount of money and it's going to multiply and you are going to make a lot of money in the quick period of time. So those scams, what we see now, and then we see them a lot again, is the cryptocurrency scams. And I know a lot of people who know people who lost a lot of money on the cryptocurrency scams. So how it works is that you get an offer from what it seems to be like a legit investment company. And they are telling you, like, invest money in crypto, you will make 4 times, 5 times as much in a month. It's a gold mine, you will make a lot of money. And what the scammers are doing now too, they are able on dark web, they are able to create a website that does look like a regular investment website, and they will tell you this is the wire that you need to send for the investment, and then you send the wire, you do a wire transfer from your bank account, and now on the website, on the dark web, you actually see, so let's say you transfer $100,000. So once you do the transfer, you will see it on the dark web that you have $100,000. And in the 2 days, you might see, like, oh, I have $150,000. So it basically, the investment is doing such a good job, right? And then the criminal will contact you again and say, like, hey, transfer some more money. You can make some more. You see how easy it is. You are making so much money in just such a quick period of time. So people would invest or transfer more money, wire more money into this dark web account. And then again, they see, like, oh, it's multiplying, right? So this all looks really great until the victim, the person, realizes, like, okay, maybe it's time for me to withdraw some of the money that I already made. And once the person tries to make the withdrawal, try to get the money back, the investment page goes completely blank. There's nothing, and all the money is gone. This scam, I think we saw at least like 3 or 4 a month in the last few months. And it's almost impossible for us to investigate because there are almost no leads to it. And those criminals are usually not based in the US, they are based overseas. And it's very difficult for us to catch them. So once the wire transfer is done, there's like really nothing we can do. So just be very careful if it comes something that comes to investment or some promises that you can make a lot of money very quick. Just be very careful. And with the crypto, be extremely careful. Always verify if it's a legit investment company and do a little bit of background research before you transfer the money. Because once you transfer the money, once the wire is done, it's really nothing that we can do. We move to slide number 5. So what the thieves are trying to also do, they are trying to trick you into giving out personal information. And they can contact you many ways. So we can see criminals trying to contact you in person, which is sometimes at the grocery store or anywhere. The bank, close to the bank, and the coffee shop. They're just trying to be friendly and get your personal information. The other way that they do it, they try to do it over the phone. They are pretending they can be from the bank, they can be from the Social Security office, and try to get as much information from you as they can. They can also get your personal information from a mail. So we see a lot of mail theft. So the thieves are trying to steal the mail that they can get the information about you from the mail. Thieves are also contacting people via email. And as I said, again, they are very sophisticated. So sometimes I know a lot of people are getting those emails. They look like emails from the Bank of America. So in the headline would be the Bank of America send you an email asking for some information, right? The same thing you can get via text message, that you get a text message that Wells Fargo or any bank is asking you for some information, and if you click on it, it will actually take you to like a website that does look like a Bank of America or Wells Fargo website. On that, be extremely careful and just always verify that your bank, if the bank is asking for the information, the bank is usually not asking for any personal information, any social security, any home address, or anything like that via the text message or via email. But again, they try to make you believe this is the real stuff. This is the bank asking you for that. So people would fall on for it, and they will provide the information. Also, it's very difficult for us to catch those identity theft fraudster, because it is almost impossible. Again, it's all done through the dark web, and a lot of times they are outside the US and they are committing those frauds. A lot of phone calls that we also get, and we get the thieves and criminals prey on older people. So what they do, they go on a website, they do some search, and they look for phone numbers, and then sometimes you are able to get a phone number and an approximate age. So they target our seniors in our senior community. They target seniors over the phone, and some of the scams that we have had in the past too, it would be the phone scam, like your family member is in danger or in jail. So how it works, so they would contact the senior and they would tell them like, hey, this is so-and-so calling from the sheriff's office. I'm just going to notify you that your grandson was arrested. And then the senior would sometimes say like, oh no, Johnny was arrested. And they say like, yes, Johnny was arrested. He's in jail and he needs a bail to be able to get out. And then they tell the senior, this is how you need to get the money. Sometimes they ask for a check. Sometimes they ask for a wire transfer. They try to get the money so the grandson can be bailed out of the jail. Again, this is a fraud. Usually, if somebody calls you from the jail, if a grandson is actually arrested, it's going to be him who is going to be making the phone call, and the money needs to be paid through jail only. So nobody will ever contact anybody on their behalf to ask for any bail money. So this is a big rat scam. Again, sometimes our seniors are also vulnerable, and they are being targeted just because, this is what the thieves prey on. That being said, please just remember, never send cash, never wire money, and never let someone visit you home that you do not know, and be extremely careful. So even if you have a Comcast people coming or PG&E guys coming, don't leave your personal information just laying on the table calling somebody, because you never know who those people are, and they can actually scam you. They can use the information. They can sell it to somebody else. So just be extra careful. Always ask when you feel like something is not right, or something seems to be too good to be true, and sometimes something seems to be like unreal. Just be extremely careful and notify your parents, notify your grandparents just about, how to protect themselves too from the scams. Another scam that we have seen too, so next chapter please, next page, it would be the charity scam. And the scammers pretend that they are calling from some organization that's trying to help people in need. Again, a lot of people fall for it, and then they contribute because they just are naturally good and want to help people who are victims of natural disaster. So again, for this one, before you send any money, always do some research, figure out, you can Google it up, see if this is a really organization, nonprofit that is helping people or not. So this is just like you just need to do a little bit of a background search for me. Ask questions about a charity, you can check. So a lot of organizations are listed on the Better Business Bureau, just to make sure that it's a legit charity before you transfer any money, because the scammers, they really trying to prey on anything that they can, and then they can really get a lot of money. The other scam, you can just put on slide number 7, please. It's the IRS scam. I think a lot of people actually got this scam over. They were not necessarily victims, but it's always like the IRS phone calls that you get a phone call like, oh, there's a warrant for your arrest from the IRS unless you pay certain money that you owe for taxes. that you will be able to go. They will come and get you, and you will be put in jail. So again, this is the same thing as a sheriff's office and other law enforcement agency. IRS would never call you. They would always only contact you by the mail. And you can double check with the IRS first before you send any money. I believe this scam has been going on for a while, so people are aware of it. So I don't want to spend too much time on that, because I think this one is the one that's still going on, but I think people are being very careful, and then they are not really, we don't see too many people fall to be victims of the scam, but we do have a lot of people who are reporting that they got a phone call from IRS, and this has been going on for a long time. I got the phone call from IRS on my work phone, so that was kind of funny that I'm a victim, that they were trying to victimize me, but of course I didn't fall for it. So the next slide, please. It's basically what we want you to do. Be aware and be safe. So always stay aware of the current scams. There's a news outlet that you can look for, and they are very good at putting some new scams that just come out on. We also have the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office, and there is a website that will inform you about the new scams too. And some of the scams that we have seen in the recent months are the dating scams. So it's basically that people who are into online dating will match up with somebody, and then this person never always calls on the phone, never wants to meet in person. It can be a person who lives in a different country, and the person kind of builds a relationship with the victim, and then the victim feels like, oh, this is now my boyfriend or my girlfriend. They fall in love. Everything seems to be doing like great, and then the fraudster is going to ask the victim for any money. So send me some money. I'm having some issues. My grandma is in the hospital, needs some money for surgery. Guys, if I tell you about this, it's like hard to believe that people would actually fall for this scam. But we do have a lot of people who do fall for the scam, and then there are a lot of times people would ask us like, I don't know if it's really a scam or not. I feel like I have this relationship with this person, but he just keeps asking me for more and more money, and I'm willing to send it to him. He's saying I'm going to give it back, but I haven't seen anything. So sometimes victims are kind of like on the verge. They're not sure what to do and if they should report a scammer, because at this point they feel like, oh, we are having a relationship with this person. So it's kind of hard. And also sometimes what I see at schools is that kids, this is for younger boys a lot of times, that the younger boys will meet something on social media or on dating app, and it's a extremely like good looking girl, and they feel like, oh, we are having a relationship. And then the girl would ask the boy, hey, send me nude pictures of yourself. And the boy, he's excited that like a hot girl is asking for his nude pictures, so he would send it. And then the girl, or whoever that is, it can be a 60-year-old person across the country again, is saying like, oh, now I have your nude picture, you have to send me $500, or I'm going to post the picture on Instagram, I'm going to post it on Facebook, or I'm going to send it to your friends. So now the person who thought like build a relationship with somebody is feeling embarrassed. And what we see a lot of times is that those victims, because they feel embarrassed and they don't want their naked picture to be published anywhere, so they would send criminals money, and then they just ask for more and more and more. And sometimes people like send a lot of money before they actually realize, I have to report this to the sheriff's office. So this is one of the things that I have to tell you too, is please don't share any compromising pictures of yourself. I tell this to the kids too, but just make sure you don't do it, because you never know who is going to get those pictures and how the pictures can be misused. So think about it before you do anything, before you send any personal information, before you send any pictures or anything compromising. I want to talk briefly about identity theft now. We'll be on the next slide, please. So I just wanted to say that identity theft is a criminal federal crime, so it can be prosecuted federally. And it's basically when somebody uses your personal information without your knowledge or permission for financial gain and other gain. And it can basically happen anywhere in the world. And again, this is the same thing with all the scammers. It can be hard to catch before it has already taken place. So the identity thieves are looking for any mail or any information They would get your name, your social security, your address, your phone number, because they can do a lot of damage with this information. On the next slide, we will talk about something, what happens when the information is compromised. And then we see this crime a lot too, so that the scammers can open your accounts and drain your bank account. So if they get an information about your social security, about your name, date of birth, they can figure out like what bank account you are using, and then they can drain the account. They can take out loans in your name or make purchases with your credit cards. So we have had those cases in the past too, that the victim will basically get a letter from their bank saying like, oh, you have been approved for a home loan somewhere in Texas. And then they will think like, oh, this must be something wrong, right? I never applied for a loan in Texas. And then they do some of the digging and they find out, oh, there was somebody who actually opened a loan in Texas with all the information. Or we had a case just fairly recently that the victim would receive a license plate for a car. And the victim would call us and say like, this is like so weird. I just received a license plate for a car, but my cars, they all have license plates. I'm not expecting any license plate in the mail for a car. So what happened that the thief actually was able to get identity information for the victim. The thief went and got a car loan, bought a car, and then the car was with the identity thief, and the license plates were sent to a victim at his home address. Now the victim found out, oh, there is a car loan, $40,000 in his name for a car that he never purchased. So unfortunately, this is common. And we see a lot of unemployment benefits, that people would ask for unemployment benefits. And again, they get a statement from the employment office. They say like, oh, you are now collecting the unemployment benefits, and the person is still lawfully employed. So they call and then they figure out like, oh, somebody actually used their information to apply for the benefits. We saw it during the COVID relief, that people would use somebody else's personal information to apply for the loans or get the tax returns and collect a refund. So just be very extra careful. On the slide I also said it, you can obtain a false criminal record if you are using somebody else's information. This is not that common, because when we arrest somebody, and it is not uncommon that people would provide like false information, false date of birth, false name, false everything. But when the person is actually booked into a jail, we always do fingerprinting. So the right person will pop up, and then this person will be charged with another crime for providing a false name to a peace officer. But it's something to consider too. On the next slide, we are going to talk briefly about how to protect yourself, right? How do you protect yourself from an identity theft? So we came up with what we call the 5 S's. So the first one is steal your lips. So it's just basically never give any personal information, avoid talking about finances in public or on social media, right? So the bragging or talking about it, because you never know who is listening. You might be meeting with your friend at the restaurant, but you don't know who is sitting next to you at the table, who is taking notes, who is listening. So just don't do it. The next one is the secure personal documents in the safe place. So I always encourage people to get like a little safe. They are super inexpensive right now, and you put your personal information in there, any social security cards, anything like that. When we see a lot of times, unfortunately, people do carry their social security card in their wallet. There is no need for that. It's much better if it's stored in a safe place, because just imagine somebody steals your wallet. Not even the person is going to get your ID, the driver's license number, the home address, and then if there is a social security card next to it, you can see how the thief can misuse it very quickly and very easily. So don't put your social security card in your wallet. Don't write it down. There is no need for you to carry it on a daily basis. The next one, the next S, is shred personal information. So any bank statement and anything that you receive, anything that has your name, just please shred it, because you never know. You can throw it in the garbage. Somebody can take it from the garbage and again, misuse it. Next S is suspect other people's motives, right? So I know that, as I said in the beginning, a lot of people are trusting and they believe other people are good people and they have good motives as well. But this is not the case with the thieves, right? So if somebody is offering you something that sounds really good, or somebody wants something from you, always check and always ask yourself, like, hey, what might be the other person's motive? And if you're not sure, and if you feel like, oh, this might be a scam, this might not be a scam, this might be a legit thing, we are here for you. The sheriff's office is open 24/7, and we will be more than happy to answer any phone calls or any questions that you have. We can call you and just kind of go over like what's happening. And it's always better to do a little bit more research and ask before you send any money or before you are a victim. Because as I said before, it is fairly easy to prevent it. But once the damage is done, once the money is transferred, once the identity is stolen, it's very hard to get it back. And the next S is to scrutinize receipts. So for that, what I mean, like if you have a bank statement, probably like once a week, it's a good time to take a look at your credit card statement. Everybody now does online banking, right? So it's super easy to check and just see if there are any unexpected charges, right? If there are any checks that were made from your bank account that you didn't make, if there's any charges that you don't recognize. So just try to get to it like at least once a week. So if you see something, you can catch it fairly on, because sometimes the scammers, what they will do, they will try to like take a little bit of money at a time, see if it goes unnoticed, and just ask for more and more and more. What I also recommend people to do is to, sometimes banks and some credit cards offer like a free, it's not necessary credit monitoring, but it's just a kind of monitoring if there's any new accounts open in your name, if there are any new loans that are taken. So it's probably a good idea to sign up for it, or just at least be careful. Like do your credit card statement, check it, and you can check your credit scores. A lot of credit cards offer it free of charge with the account. So just try to be extra careful and don't send any money to anybody that you don't know. And if something sounds too good to be true, if you feel like you can make good money on your investment, just always scrutinize it and then try to figure out if this is a legit thing or not. On the next slide, we are going to talk about what you should do when you actually believe that you are a victim of the identity theft. So the time is on the thief's side. So for you, what you need to do, try to act as fast as you notice it. So that's why I said it's important to check the bank statements or to see if anything happened, because the sooner you react, the better is the chances that further damage can be prevented. So when you believe you are a victim of an identity theft, notify the business when you believe the fraud took place. So for example, if you get a statement from Bank of America, there is a new home loan that's been opened in your name, contact the bank first, just tell them, and then contact the sheriff's office or the agency of jurisdiction and just tell us what happened so we can start the investigations. You will get a report number which you can use with the bank. They will be able to hopefully get some of your money back to you. And you can also contact, and you should always contact the 3 major US credit report companies just to notify them what happened and you have been a victim of the crime. And the police report will help you with this. Unfortunately, a lot of times when you become a victim of the identity theft, it's a long run. You will probably have to monitor your credit score and everything for quite a long time. And to be honest, it's very difficult for us to catch the identity thieves. We had some good luck with people who steal checkbooks and try to cash the checks, because it's usually done here in the US. But for a lot of the scammers and the identity thieves, as I previously said, they are based overseas and it's very difficult. So even if we figure out who that person is, to getting the international warrant and get the person to the US to be prosecuted, it is hard. So it's probably the best thing would be just try to prevent as much as you can. And at the end of the presentation, I believe I will provide with my phone number and email address, and I'm more than happy to talk, or more than happy if you have any questions, any issues, or you just don't believe if this is the right charity that you are going to contribute to, if it's really the right thing, or if it's just a scam again. A lot of times also be careful, and this will be the last scam talk that I will say today. It's the Facebook marketplace scam. We have seen a lot of those too. If you are selling something on Facebook, or if you are selling something on Craigslist, just be careful about it, because a lot of times the scammers try to target those people as well. And what we see as a common scam is that the scammer will say, like, let's say you are selling a bike on Facebook, and somebody will contact you and tell you, like, hey, I am really interested in a bike. I can send you the money now, and pick up the bike tomorrow. So then you get all, of course, excited that you are going to be paid already and the bike is sold, right? So let's say you are selling the bike for $500. So the scammer will send you on PayPal or Zelle, they will send you like $600 or $700, and they will tell you, like, oh, I transferred your money, but I made a mistake. And then can you send me the money back? So the victim, because they believe, oh, this is an honest person, just made a mistake, send more money. So they will try to send the money back. And now the scammer will be able to get to your bank account, and sometimes they will try to drain it, or sometimes, the money that you believe that was sent to you never cleared the bank because there was no money on the scammer's account. So just be extra careful when you do anything, any transactions that you do online, either on Facebook or Craigslist or anywhere else, any online marketplace. Just be extra careful. So now I'm going to talk about crime prevention at home. And I'm going to provide you with some statistics later on, but I have to tell you that the home burglaries are really up in Saratoga or all surrounded areas in our jurisdiction, in Los Altos Hills, in Cupertino. So everywhere it's up. And it's pretty scary, and we don't like to see it, but unfortunately this is happening. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about home prevention, because we really want to stop the burglaries. And there are certain things that you guys can do to your home that will make it harder for burglars to attack your home. So try to take care of your residents, and you can eliminate some of the opportunity for crime. So the easiest thing that you can do is, like, always lock doors and windows. Because a lot of times, like, people still, hard to believe, but they don't lock the front doors, right? And the burglar might just be coming around, try to open the door is open, easy to come in. The same thing with the windows. Close the blinds and curtains after dark as well, because the criminals are coming and they are looking out, right? So they see what is in the house. It's a nice house. There's a lot of electronics, right? So they can just get a visual what's in, and then come later on to target the residents. Use your home alarm system. So this is what is kind of frustrating for us to see, that a lot of residences that have been burglarized actually do have the home alarm systems, but they were not turned on. So what it means that the residents pay a lot of money for the home alarm, but when they leave, let's say for dinner or somewhere for a short period of time, they do not alarm the alarm. So, and at that point, the burglars actually come in and they burglarize the house. And it's been unfortunately, pretty big trend now, what we see now, that the residents who are victims of the burglaries will tell us, oh, I forgot to turn it on. So please make sure you turn on the alarm system, because how the alarms work, if there is a alarm pole in our jurisdiction, the sheriff's office is dispatched. So if the alarm company calls us that there is an alarm triggered at the residence, we are going to a residence. And if there is somebody inside, we are going to arrest it. So it's going to make it a little bit easier for us to catch the person when they are committing a crime. We always also ask people if they can to install real or fake cameras, because it's a good deterrent that the criminals don't want to be seen. And if there is a camera on the house, it can provide us with the information about the burglar, but it will be probably very likely like after the fact that the home is burglarized. Then I think that we ask you to do is to report suspicious activities around your home and neighborhood. What I mean by that is, like, if you notice something that is not right, just don't hesitate to call the sheriff's office. I'm going to provide you with the phone number. It's a non-emergency phone number for the sheriff's office. On this phone number, you can report basically anything that you believe is suspicious. So what I mean by that, you are at home, you look out a window and you see a car slowly driving through the street, maybe with the lights off after dark, and just looking at the residences, right? So this is a little bit suspicious. Can it be a burglar? Yes. Can it be just somebody looking for their friend's house? Yes. So, but it does no harm for you to call us, to call the sheriff's office and just provide us information. There's a dark blue sedan, newer model Honda. I can see the license plate. Provide us with the license plate and just report what you see. I just see this car driving slowly through the neighborhood. When at this point, it might not be anything suspicious. We can go and check it out. We can see who's happening. We can run the license plate, see if there's anything suspicious about a car, and we can make a contact with the person as well. So it's always good. If you see something that is not right, or you see something that you believe might be suspicious, please report it to us. I know when I talk to people, sometimes they will tell me like, oh, we don't want to report anything because we don't want to bother you guys. You are busy with the important phone calls. And this is sounds like a minor issue. But I always tell people, please report it, because who knows? It can be just burglar looking for the next victim. And it's always for us, if we are busy on a more high priority call, we are not going to respond right away, but maybe we are just not busy and we are in the neighborhood and we are going to check it out. So please let us know. The good thing about Saratoga is that there are a lot of neighbors who look out for each other. So please let your neighbors know if you are leaving on vacation, because the best thing is your neighbor, right? Your neighbor, if neighbor cares about you, cares about the neighborhood, he's going to keep an eye on your house just to see if there's anything suspicious going on, if there's any unusual activity, if there are any people coming to the residence or coming to the front door. So let your neighbors know that you are going on vacation or anywhere else. Put a hold in your mail on newspaper, because it's very obvious for the criminals if the homeowner is not home. There's Amazon boxes in front of the doors. There is a mail pile. So just please stop the mail, anything. So just don't let anybody know that the house is empty and nobody is home. So there's one thing on the next slide we are going to talk about, and there's a website that you guys can use too. Sometimes people don't know that you can actually request a patrol check. So let's say you are leaving on vacation or you are going to be gone for a little bit. You can request the sheriff's office, the deputies, to just drive by and just check it out to make sure everything is good with your residence. If you go on the website, there is the link, and you can basically put in the dates that you are leaving, the address, the dates you are leaving. We also ask if there are any cars that you list that are parked in the driveway or anything, if there are any pets or there's somebody who comes to the residence during the time that you are away. So it helps us. So we will actually drive by, see like, okay, there is a car in the driveway. There are not supposed to be any cars in the driveway. So it's something that we can look out and make sure that nothing is happening to your residence. What we also provide at the sheriff's office, we can do a home safety walkthrough. And this is basically, you call us, you invite us over to your house, and it's me or my two partners would come by, and we will just walk through your residence, the outside and inside, and basically give you any like home safety tips. Like if we see something that you should probably take care of, we can help you to kind of make sure that your home is a little bit more proof. So this is the phone number. On the next slide, we are talking about some of the things that are good to be done and outside. It's good to have the exterior lights, because the thieves and the burglars, they like the dark places. They don't like the light, right? So if there's a light that's installed that illuminates the exterior, that's really always a good idea. We like the street numbers to be at least 4 inches to ensure that we can see it when we are responding to residents. Trim vegetation near entry points. So what it means by that, like we don't like to see like any big bushes, like right by the windows and the doors. It's basically, if somebody breaks in the house, it's almost impossible to see that it was done. And also don't use hide the key places, just use the boxes. The good deterrent that people use, and the burglars really they don't like dogs. So we actually see that the beware of a dog sign can be a good deterrent, because if the burglars are going to break into somebody's house, if there's a dog inside the house, they don't like it, so they will probably go to a different house. So it's a good thing to get, put it on your gate, put it on the side, and just something that can help with the prevention. On the next slide, I'm going to talk about how to answer if somebody knocks on your door. So a lot of times what happens that the burglars will actually try to see if the house is empty. So they come, they knock on the door loudly. If nobody comes to the house, they knock again, they wait there a little bit. And if nobody comes, they think, okay, this house is empty. Nobody's at home. There are no cars in the driveway. Nobody came to the door. So they call for the backup and they will go in because they think that the house is empty. So if you hear a knock on the door, you always answer verbally so that they know that you are at home. Don't open the door unless you are expecting somebody. If you think, if somebody says, "Okay, I'm a PG&E and Comcast," and you don't expect anybody to come to your house at the time, you can always call Comcast and PG&E just to verify that it's really them. If it's the sheriff's office, we usually announce ourselves like, "Oh, this is Deputy Molnar with the sheriff's office." And if you peek out a window, you will probably see our car parked in front of the residence. If you don't believe this is somebody from the sheriff's office, you can call 911 or the dispatchers will basically tell you if there is a police officer in front of the door wanting to talk to you. The other thing that you can do, and it can be a good deterrent, is to maintain a neighborhood watch program. It's basically usually a group of people on the block or on the street, they get together and they partner with us too. We can do some presentations for them. And the goal of the neighborhood watch is basically neighbors come together and then they look out for each other, right? They learn about the neighbors, they learn about the neighborhood, they learn what people usually come to the neighborhood and what is suspicious in the neighborhood. And they kind of look out for each other and they report any suspicious activity to the sheriff's office. And you can place a little anti-burglary stickers in the window to help with that too. So on the next slide, it's a small one, but it will be talking about the crimes in Saratoga. So we are comparing years 2020, 2021, and 2022. So the 2022 is not over. This stats I got it last week. So it's not, we still have December. So this was, I believe, at the end of November, the statistics. I know it's very small, but if we move to the next slide, it will basically show the trend and it will be a little bit bigger number. So it will be a little bit easier to see. So on slide number 18, please, if you can just click it. So we can see that unfortunately the residential burglaries have been up a lot. So compared like last year, the whole year from January to November, we had 47 burglaries. And then from January to November of 2022, we are already up to 68. And this number is going to go up some more because I know just past week, there were at least, I believe there were 3 burglaries in the city of Saratoga. So that's going to go up. And December, we will see some increase too. So this is very problematic for us to see, but there are it's on the rise. The commercial burglary is on the rise too. This is businesses are being targeted when it comes to like Safeway, CVS, to any restaurants or anything like that. The vehicle burglary is on the rise too. So that's basically like breaking into a car to get anything from the car that's being locked. The grand theft is on the rise too. On the grand theft, we have the catalytic converters theft too. That has been on the rise as well in the last year or two. And we've seen a lot of those in Saratoga and Cupertino. This statistic is specifically to Saratoga, but the same trend we see in Cupertino as well. The auto theft will be down. It's basically if somebody steals your car, so it went down significantly. Not much vandalism. Identity theft is up as well, not as significantly, but it's the numbers were pretty high up to start with last year too, so it's stable, but it's going up as well. Domestic violence, we see the trend going down, but as I said, it's not. This will not include December, and unfortunately for domestic violence, usually December is a month that people are home and domestic violence happens. Assaults are down quite significantly. And sex crimes are down a little bit too, but it's probably going to stay the same as last year because we still have December to talk about. So I want to talk now about like how to report some of the suspicious behavior. We always ask people to call 911 before you call anybody else. So what I mean by that in some of the instances, and we had some of the cases that people would actually post on Nextdoor or call their neighbors before about anything suspicious or before a crime, before calling the sheriff's office or calling 911. So if you want to post on Nextdoor, that's great, but please call 911 first. We ask you to be a good witness. So it means like know your location, the suspicious person that you are calling about. Give us a good description of the suspicious person. If you have a suspicious vehicle, give us a good description to license plate number would be great, but if you give a description like it's a newer SUV, silver in color, with 4 people inside, it would be sufficient too. You can always call if you have any solicitors, because we can go talk to them, see if they have a permit or not, or if they are like real solicitors or what their agenda is. And please be safe. Don't put your personal safety in jeopardy. What I mean by that, like you see something suspicious, you see somebody suspicious walking down the street, we would ask you not to approach the person. Always call us. We are trying to deal with dangerous people, and it's always better for us to be making contact with those people, because you never know if they are carrying any weapons or what their mental state is, what happened. So just try to be a good witness. Try not to approach. If you can take a picture, it would be great. If you cannot take a picture without compromising your safety, please don't do it. Just take a mental picture and then call the sheriff's office. We'll be there shortly. Our office is on Dianza Boulevard, so we can be there in a few minutes. So this is the last topic that I'm going to talk about, and some people don't know it, and I think it's important to know. So on the next slide, it's a slide about texting to 911. So this is important for you guys to know that you can actually, instead of calling, you can text 911. Because in some instances, like let's see there's a home invasion or you are in danger and you cannot talk, right? Because the suspect will hear you or it will put you in danger. So you can just grab your phone and on the text messages, you will just text 911 and it goes directly to our dispatch and is as fast as calling. So if you text 911 and provide the information, the dispatchers will get back to you through the text, and then you will get officers, you will get the deputies on scene very quick too. So it works just the same. So you remember, this is like some of the great features that we have here in Santa Clara County. So if you are in danger, you cannot talk, you are worried somebody will hear you, or if you are in domestic violence situation and you just cannot talk, remember that the 911 serves just as good as calling 911. So just something to share with your kids as well. And I tell the kids when I talk, the safety talks with them at school I let people know. So the more people know about it, the better, because it can give them some good tool to have too. So this will be the end of the presentation. I would like to thank you. On the next slide is the sheriff's office phone number, our address, and this is the best email that you can reach me at. And if you have any other questions or comments, I know that you can ask Jen at the OCW or Cynthia, and she will be able to provide you with my work email address and my work cell phone. I'm more than happy to talk over the phone or over the text messages and, meet up with people or just, meet new residents and just build a positive relationship. So if you have any questions or comments, I will be more than happy to answer those. And I do believe that we have some questions in the chat. Cynthia, is that correct?
Yes. Can you read them or you want me to?
I'm going to look there if I can find it.
Yeah, I think the first question is somebody asked, Ring doorbell video is a popular and low cost. Is it good to have it?
Yes. So the ring door is excellent to have. I always encourage people to pay for the service. So the ring is, once you buy the camera, you need to actually pay for the service, and it's not very expensive. The service is to get the video recordings. And so if you invest into Ring camera, make sure you get the recordings, because the quality is really good. We can get some really good data. It can help us solving crime, because the video quality is really good. We can do some recognition. Sometimes it even catches the street, catches the license plate of the suspect. So I would definitely encourage people to have it. It's a good tool. But also, this is the thing, like if you have it, make sure the camera is charged and it's recording. Because a lot of times when we are looking for some evidence, we are looking for camera recording. So we meet with the neighbors, we meet with people, and they have a Ring camera on their residence, but they will tell us like, oh, the Ring camera was not recording, there's no video, or the battery was not charged. So yes, I would recommend it, but if you have it, and monitor it too. So the Ring camera would send you like notifications, like, oh, there is somebody at your front door, there is some motion in your front door. So we respond to sometimes we get a phone call from neighbors, and they would say like, oh, I see somebody on my Ring camera like coming to the residence. So then we would respond and see what is happening. Sometimes it's just a gardener that came on the wrong day, but it's good that the residents are like checking it, and they don't expect the gardener, but they say like, oh, there's a person coming through the back door, we don't know who that is. So then the sheriff's office, if we receive this phone call, we can go and check it out. So yes, Ring is a good camera. It's a good system.
Thank you. Another question is, this person said he and his friends are talking about starting to own guns for self-defense.
Oh.
So what are the pros and cons based on your professional experience? So if you can provide answers to this question, that would be appreciated.
I cannot really provide an answers to this, but I will give you some food for thought, right?
Okay.
Because, you need to, the guns are excellent. It's a good tool to have if you use it safely and you know how to use it. So when you own a gun, you should do always the training. So you know how to use your gun, right? You know that you are not going to be hurt with the gun. You have small children in the house. So you need to think about like the gun needs to be always in the safe. It needs to be secured so the gun cannot be used against you. Also, if you have a gun at the house and you see, like, you need to think about, if I am in danger, if my family is in danger, am I going to be able to use the gun appropriately? What I mean by that, like, you have the gun, there's a home invader, somebody breaks into your house. Now you are pointing a gun at the person who is trying to hurt you. Let's say the suspect doesn't have a gun, but has a hammer or something, a baseball bat in your hand. Are you going to be able to discharge the gun to protect yourself, right? This might be a silly question that I'm asking. But if you have a doubt, if you think like, oh, I'm not going to be able to like shoot a person, then the bad guy can take your gun, and now is a gun in the fight. And I can guarantee you the bad guy is not going to be hesitant when it comes to, using a gun against you. So this is just something you consider. Like, if you own a gun, you have to think like, am I going to be able to use it if somebody actually, is threatening me? So this is, I cannot tell you yes or no, own a gun or don't own a gun, but you have to think about like the safety, which is the main concern, that we have a safety, right? And we don't want also, let's say like you have a gun, somebody breaks in your house, they steal your gun because the gun was not in the safe or was not secured. Now we have a gun that is in your name on the street in the hands of a bad guy, right? So you have to think about all the things. Like, you have to make sure that the gun is safely locked. Nobody has an access to it. Your kids cannot get to it. And if you actually need it for your own protection, you have to think, and this is something that nobody can answer for you. You have to look into yourself and say like, am I going to be able to use the gun? So this is like the things that you consider, and then you make a decision based on the, the conversation that you basically have with yourself. I cannot tell you one way or the other.
Well, thank you for your comments. So that's something we'll have to consider carefully. Another question is, the person has been told not to leave the garage remote control and car registration in a car parked outside the garage. Yeah. It allowed someone to locate and easily access a house through the garage. True or false?
Yes, true. So this is, just think about it, right? So if you leave a garage opener in front of you're sleeping, there is a garage opener in your car, bad guy breaks into your car, and then we saw that the car break-ins are on the rise as well, and they find a garage opener, how easy it's for them just to push it and just go in. We have seen it that the bad guys would enter the garage and steal like bikes and stuff in the garage. I haven't, thankfully, had a case that the bad guy would actually go into the residence where people are sleeping or where kids are sleeping. But who knows? Like, can be the worst possible scenario. You never know. Like, this guy's already breaking into the cars. He's looking for more crimes to commit, right? Can be a sex offender. Now he opens your house and has an entry to your house. So yes, do not leave your garage opener in the car. Don't leave any valuables in the car. It's just not worth it. Don't leave anything that the person can steal. Yeah, like no AirPods, nothing. People just leave stuff behind. And the same thing like when you go to a restaurant. So we have seen a lot of, engineers, they work for Apple, they go on a lunch break, they leave their computers on the back seat of the car. And it's just a so easy target. So bad guys like break in and steal all the stuff. So don't leave anything visible in your car. If you go on a hike, you park the car. Take your wallet with you. If you don't, just hide it somewhere. Don't leave anything in the plain view because thieves are looking for it. So just be extra careful. Yeah, and the garage opener, do not leave it in the car. Don't leave anything valuable in your car.
Okay, thank you. Another question, I think it's good for you to talk about the difference of sheriff and police, because this person is asking about contacting police versus sheriff.
It's the same thing. So how it works, basically the sheriff's office and the police is the same thing. It's just their jurisdiction. It means where we work. So for the city of Saratoga, Cupertino, and Los Altos Hills, they do not have their own police department. So there's nothing that would say like Saratoga Police Department, right? Where's the sheriff's office? Because the city of Saratoga contracts with the sheriff's office. But we provide the law enforcement services the same as the police department. So it's not a difference. The only difference is that for the sheriff's office, we also have jails. So we provide personnel to the jails, but it's very different. So for us, you are either working the law enforcement or you are working the correction. So for me, I cannot be working in the jails and somebody from the jails cannot be working the streets. But if we are assigned to the law enforcement division, is the same thing as the police department. It's basically just like where we work. So San Jose, they have their own San Jose police. Saratoga has the sheriff's office to provide law enforcement services, but it's the same services and it's the same thing. It's not a difference. Does it make sense?
Yes. So next, this person asked, could you recap what personal information should not be shared?
Okay, I would not share, like you can share your name, but other than that, it depends like who is asking. So, right, so if you are going to a bank or to a doctor, this is like a legit place that that they need your information, then it's okay to share it. I was talking about don't share any personal information when you don't know who that person is, when you cannot verify. Somebody calls you, somebody emails you, so don't provide any information. If you know that you are going to get a home loan, you know that you need to provide the information, but you provide it to the bank. If you go to a doctor or school, they ask you for, your address, your bills to register your kid into a high school. It's a legit request. You can provide your information. But if somebody is calling you over the phone and saying like, hey, I'm so-and-so, give me this information. If somebody's emailing you and you are not 100% sure who that is, don't provide anything.
Okay, thank you. And along with your presentation earlier regarding protecting our mails, can you tell us how to protect our mails?
Oh, the mail. So important thing is that try to pick. So you usually know when the mail comes, right? So try to pick the mail as early as you can. If somebody's home, don't leave the mail in the mailbox overnight. So a lot of times the bad guys and the thieves come at night and then they break into the mailboxes at night. So if you can get to the mail, as soon as it comes, and if not, like when you come back from work, just pick up your mails. Don't let it sit there overnight.
Okay, thank you. And one question I would like to ask is nowadays there has been a lot of anti-Asian hate crime.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk a little bit about it and also what we can do to prevent it from happening?
So thankfully, we did not have any like serious hate crime. We did have just fairly recently had the doll hanging by a noose at Saratoga schools. I believe you guys heard about it.
Mhm.
So we take this very seriously, and there is no hate crime is going to be accepted or tolerated anywhere in our jurisdiction, as I would say. Specifically, Asian hate crime, we have not had anything in the city of Saratoga, which is reassuring. But that being said, is we might not sometimes like people don't report it, right? So if you heard about somebody was approached, I know that there were like people who were, I would say, targeted, maybe yelled at or talked to inappropriately, but it did not really meet the hate crime criteria, as I would say. So it would be somebody, maybe, you go to a store and somebody tells you like, hey, go back home, you don't belong here, or call you some bad names. I would just encourage everybody who has experienced any kind of hate, right? Hate based on hair color, whatever, what kind of hate, somebody is just saying something inappropriate. I always encourage people to report it to the sheriff's office. Let us know like, hey, this happened, right? And sometimes, it might not meet the crime criteria. It might not be a crime, but it's usually good for us. Like if somebody's acting inappropriately, like saying hurtful thing or inappropriate things, which might not necessarily be a crime, but sometimes it helps the person if the deputy is talking to them and just lets them know like, hey, this behavior is not going to be tolerated, and you are on our radar now. Like we are going to see like what is happening with you, and just kind of like educate the person and just tell them like, hey, we are not going to tolerate it, and this is just something that you just need to stop doing.
So is it a good idea to confront the person or just walk away?
I would say it is not a good idea to confront the person, because it can just escalate and you don't know what the person's agenda is, right? So the best thing would be just walk away. You are in a safe place. Like again, take a good look at the person, call the sheriff's office and tell us what happened, who was involved, the description of the suspect, description of any car that he had, and tell us like exactly what happened. And then we are going to locate a person and we are going to have a talk with them. So it's always, I would always like prioritize my personal safety. That's what I tell the people. Like we do have the tools and the skills that we can deal with difficult people, but you never know what the person mental state is, if the person has any weapons, what you say something bad, you protect yourself, the person has a knife, can stab you, or, it can just escalate very bad.
Yeah. And at this point, since we do have parents of Saratoga High Schools on this, at this meeting, so can you just tell us a little bit about what programs you have done for the elementary school district, for high school district?
Okay, sure. So I provide presentations. So I'm in a contact. I go to schools like at least a couple times a week. Saratoga High School, I go there more than I would like to. But yeah, I do go to schools. I always check with them to see what's happening. The principals and the school admin, assistant principals, they have my work cell phone number. And if anything they need, they will text me and I respond. Some of the things that I do for the elementary schools, so we start with the young kids, kindergartens. I give them presentations on a stranger danger, talk about like what to be on the lookout for. And we talk about bullying, how to prevent bullying, what bullying is, kind of just educate the kids, because kids, sometimes they don't understand and sometimes they don't know. So it's good for them to kind of expose them to those things and just like talk about it. They're very receptive and they are super smart. So it's good for me to get involved with them and kind of like educate them on certain topics. We talk about bike safety, how to bike safely to school. We talk about how to treat people with respect. I go there, I show them my patrol car. We talk about, what is the role of the police officer in the community. So the goal for the little kids is basically build trust, right? So they will see me and they will know the cops are friendly, they are not here to harass me. They're not here to give my parents tickets. They are friendly people and we can approach them if there is a problem. So at middle school, I also give the presentations. We talk more about the inappropriate behavior, the internet conduct, the internet safety, about the predators, about the people, what can be done over the internet, how suspects can get your information again, try to befriend you, what can happen to you. Also give them some like tips or how to be safe, talk about bullying. The middle school is kind of funny because you can see the kids like transitioning from elementary school to high school. So there's a big difference, but they are usually like super sweet. So we do that. For the high schools, then I go there to talk about the internet safety too, and we do a big presentation. What they like the most, I believe, is we talk about turning 18. So it's a talk that I give to like all the seniors before they graduate. And I basically just tell them, when it comes to law, kids have much greater protection. And then this is like, what happens to you when you turn 18, when it comes to, if you can be charged with the crime, what are some of the responsibilities that you have, and what are some of the things that we would like you to do. So this is basically what I do. We also provide like the run, hide, and defend presentations for all the schools, and we do the drill. So this would be for the active shooter situation. We prepare the schools and then talk to people about how you can protect yourself in this kind of situation. I also respond to students if they have any questions or comments, specifics. I know in just last 2 weeks, I was contacted by the media class in Saratoga High School. They had some questions about the weapons and guns. So we did like a little interview for their project. So I'm trying to be helpful with that. And I also investigate any crime that happens on any school campus. So when it comes to burglary, vandalism, or if there are any sexual assaults or anything like that. So I investigated this as well. And then I work with the school admin if they have any issues with the student. I know like in Redwood Middle, sometimes they will ask me if I can just like talk to a kid just to see if the kid is okay, or they might have some behavior issues that doesn't necessarily not meet like the crime criteria, but they like me to go talk to a kid, kind of tell him like, hey, if you continue this behavior, this is what can get you in trouble, and this is what you can be looking at. So not really scared straight, but kind of have like honest conversations, because kids are pretty understanding, and as I said, they take it pretty well. I'm not threatening or frightening. As you can see, I'm a pretty mellow person, so usually it goes pretty well.
Yeah, thank you so much for your sharing. I think the parents and the community member for sure feel just the same as I feel, that we are in good hands.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
So-
thank you for giving me the time. I believe hopefully I didn't go too fast, or it's a lot of topics, it's a lot of things that we need to cover. So I try to jam it all in there, but like hopefully people like learn something, and then they will make sure that like nobody is a victim of a crime during the holiday season. And just if the basic, what is it, is like if you say something, if you see something, say something, and don't feel like it's a stupid thing to call the sheriff's office. We are here for you guys. We are here 24/7. So let us know. And if you see us on the street, make sure wave with all the fingers. Okay, that's how we like it.
Yeah,